Hello, Abby here from the Royal Armouries education team, and on this instalment of our Home Learners Hub, I would like to talk with you all about the ancient Greeks. Now, the Royal Armouries Museum in Leeds has some incredible ancient Greek artefacts, including this Corinthian helmet. Now, it's armour just like this that we see littered throughout ancient Greek myths. And so, today, I would like to start to tell you the myth of Perseus and Medusa. But something's not quite right though, is it? And I know what it is. Hang on. That's much better. There we go. Now we can get started. Our story, it starts way back when the world was still young. Across the salt water and over the shores, nestled behind some golden dunes, there was a fisherman's cottage. But rewind a step, because we have missed something. If we go back to that beach beyond the dunes, there is something very strange. A very strange crate, in fact. And inside this very strange crate, there is something very, very strange. Any ideas what it might be? I'm afraid to say it's not piles and piles of treasure, and unfortunately as well, it's not ice cream. But it is weird. There are two people. Out of the crate rolls Danae. She's a young lady, and in her arms she holds an infant, a little boy, to be known as Perseus. They were found by a local fisherman, the same one that owned that cottage I mentioned earlier, and they lived together for years in peace. Perseus, he grew up to be a brave and strong young man. Come on, show me your muscles. Well, that's just embarrassing. Oh, never mind. Perseus is doing well, but Danae, I'm afraid, not so much. For you see, she's caught the eye of the king. You might think that's a good thing, but this king, King Polydectes, he's a loathsome, cruel and greedy man. Can you do an evil laugh? Yes, and Perseus always seemed to be in his way, so he concocted a plan. Can I get a dun, 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 dun? You see, the king would invite Perseus and all of the other young men of the island to his palace for a feast. But there's a hitch. All of the guests are expected to bring the king a gift. Well, Perseus owns little more than the clothes upon his back, and he's full of pride that King Polydectes is going to use against him. So, at this feast, King Polydectes gives Perseus just a little bit too much wine, and Perseus, embarrassed that he can't offer anything to the king, he boldly announces that he will bring the king whatever he should desire. And that is exactly what King Polydectes wanted. So, he humbly asked for the head of the Gorgon, Medusa. Perseus, without hesitation, and in front of every single person at the feast, he agreed. He said, "Yes, my king, I will bring you the head of Medusa." See, what Perseus doesn't know is that Medusa, she's got hair made of snakes, and her eyes, they can turn a human into stone. It's not looking good for Perseus. So, the end of part 1. Perseus has gotten himself into a right mess, but he has no idea. Medusa's hair is made of snakes. Her eyes can turn a person into stone. But what about the rest of her? What about her skin? What's her skin like? What about her teeth? What colour are those famous eyes? Why don't you try and draw her for me? And make sure you label her so we know all about the different parts. What does she look like? Use really descriptive language. If you can, why not make a sock puppet Medusa, or even a clay or Play-Doh Medusa? See if your creations can turn your family into stone. But make sure you send me pictures of these creations, and then be ready for part